My name is Susan Elizabeth Hale. One of the things that I do in my work as a songkeeper is to teach people how to find and free their natural voice using breath and sound through vocal toning. Many people have been told they have no voice. They've been given messages from their parents, teachers, or siblings that tells them that something is wrong with the voice that they have. Vowel sounds are the emotional content of speech. They are the instinctual sounds that we make when we're scared, when we're in pain, when we have a deep emotional response to something. They are all the ohs of groaning and the ahs of life and the sighs and the yawns and our response, our sound response to life. So, as we learn how to release these emotional sounds through vocal toning, we can also get in touch with other layers. And one of those layers is also the spiritual nature. The other thing about vowel sounds is that they are also the sacred content of speech. In Hebrew, in ancient Egyptian, and other sacred languages, vowels were not written, they were only intoned in incantations, usually in a sacred site built out of stone, such as a pyramid, a chamber grave, a stone circle, which also amplified the vowels. And through the process of resonating these stones, the harmonics within the vowels became more distinct. The harmonics have a very magical effect on our consciousness. When we hear overtones, when we make overtones, something changes within our brainwave state and our consciousness is altered. What do I mean by harmonics? Harmonics are those high, pure, magical sounds that exist over a fundamental pitch. So I'm just going to demonstrate a few of those for you now. Perhaps in just that one example, you could hear higher sounds that were reverberating and above the fundamental note that I was giving. So when we work with vowels, these harmonics, even if we aren't trying to shape our sound, our mouth to do overtone chanting, which I was just doing, these harmonics still exist in our voices, and they do have a very different altering quality on our consciousness. So toning does many things. It does shape our consciousness. It cleanses and clears the brains. The brains, our brains, and the brains of those people that we're working with or who are hearing these sounds. And working with overtones also allows our brains to be cleansed and our nervous system to relax. We can get into a place where we can create silence within the mind, where we don't have all of this clutter happening. So vocal toning works with all of these different layers. And I'd like to just demonstrate briefly what vocal toning might sound like. Every time you tone, it's going to be a very different experience because you have a different response to life. Oftentimes, the first layer of vocal toning is the body layer. So you're often releasing stresses and strains of the day. So that might just sound something like, these aren't your prettiest sounds. Oh, they're sounds that might be giving voice to the stresses that you're under. If you stay with those body sounds, what happens is the emotional content in those stresses begins to become voiced. So, for example, if I were to do that level of toning just with the body, and stay with it long enough, it wouldn't be just an instantaneous thing. But if I stayed with that long enough and really listened into myself, I might get to a more emotional layer, and that might sound something like this. I'll kind of move from the body into the emotional layer. So that's an example of the emotions coming through the voice. Now, if I stayed with that layer long enough, and I think that this is one of the things about toning that you need to do as you're practicing it, to just stay with each layer until it moves naturally. If you stay with that emotional layer, you will start to make the sounds that will be more healing to you, healing to that part of your body, healing to that part of your emotions. So again, I'm just going to do this very quickly, and it might sound something like this right now. So I'm going to go from body to emotion to a more healing sound. So as I make those sounds for myself right now, I do feel a shift in myself. Even that much toning or that little toning does move things. Emotions are meant to move through us. And if we allow them to move through us in breath and sound through vocal toning, we can come to these other places. If I were to stay with that layer just a little bit longer, and basically what I'm doing is I'm just listening. I'm listening to my breath, I'm listening to my body, I'm listening to myself, and I'm allowing these sounds to move through me. And it might become a little bit more musical or higher, so I'm just going to demonstrate what that might sound Through the process of listening, you can hear how things are moving through me. Not every toning is going to sound like that or even get to a musical place. It might stay with just more pure sound. But to start toning yourself, what you do is you first stop and center yourself, and you take a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth 3 times, like this. And then you allow sound to ride on the out breath. Ah. Ah. And you just start wherever you are, wherever your voice is. Try not to judge it, but just to allow sounds to move through your body. You make sounds until you come to a stopping place. When you come to a place of resonance within yourself, then you will come to a place of stopping. And again, you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth 3 more times. And then you begin to notice the wonderful after effects of relaxation, of calming the brain and the mind from its constant chatter. You begin to be more in touch with who you are. You begin to heal old messages that really don't belong to us anymore from the past that told you you didn't have a voice. You have a right to your voice. You have a right to sing. It is a human need. It is something we all do. It is something that we all have, this simple, easy technique of vocal toning to find and free our natural voices and to come into a deeper resonance with ourselves and with the world around us.